وسلم على آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. رب زدنا علما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وقاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا إنهم لا يحب المعتدين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So continuing the discussion of jihad. So we mentioned yesterday that jihad in the language of the Arabs, in the Arabic language, means to struggle. And we talked about various types of struggle. So in the terminology of Sharia, it is a specific type of struggle. So all of these terms like salat, jihad, zakat, hajj, these have their roots in the Arabic language. So the Arabic language gives a very broad meaning. And the Sharia mustalah, as we call it, the terminology of Sharia, gives a very specific meaning to this basic root, keeping the linguistic root meaning intact as well. So jihad being a struggle, so the jihad of Islam is to struggle with whatever means necessary to raise the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, to elevate the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this takes place in the individual, this takes place in the family, this takes place in the community, it takes place in the nation. So jihad for the individual is the jihad, as we mentioned yesterday, against his nafs and shaitan, and perhaps the habits and the trends and the ways of the people surrounding him, the environment surrounding him. And as is mentioned in about some riwayats, that this is jihad al-akbar. This is the biggest jihad, because this is a jihad which continues from the day one until the very last day of your life. So shaitan and nafs does not leave us at any point in our existence. So that jihad takes place continuously, to a struggle against one's own lower self and against the machinations of shaitan, so that one remains on the correct path. Then there's a jihad which is a jihad within the family structure. For example, it's compulsory for the men. This has now been twisted around in our present day, but actually originally the men are the ones who are responsible for the families, for the women, for the children, and therefore they're responsible to spend upon them. There was never the concept earlier on that men have to contribute, women have to contribute, men have to contribute. They have to take care of the women, right? And as a result of that, they have to earn. And so Nabi also mentioned that to earn halal, as we mentioned earlier on, the importance of earning halal and abstaining from haram. So Nabi also mentions that the search and the effort and the struggle to acquire haram rather than halal rather than haram, this is also a jihad. And then we have, obviously, in the greater circle, in the defense of Islam, to promote the deen of Islam, the struggle with whatever means necessary. So, and Nabi also mentions that who sees munkar, that he should change it with his hand. If he can't do so, change it with his tongue. If he can't do so, change it with his heart. And in another riwayat, it's mentioned that you should implement jihad. The word jihad is used. من جاهدهم بيده فهو مؤمن، من جاهدهم بلسانه فهو مؤمن، ومن جاهدهم بقلبه فهو مؤمن. So struggles and makes jihad and performs jihad with his hand, he's a believer. And who struggles and makes jihad with his tongue, so also there's a jihad of tongue, then he's a believer. And who makes a jihad from the heart, he's also a believer. So how is jihad from the heart? The heart can, be affected, and feel pain and misery watching the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being broken. However, he may not have ability to do anything with his hand or his tongue. So what does he do? He turns his attention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his heart, and he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change what he cannot. So this is the basic meaning of jihad in terms of language and in terms of the Sharia, the technical terms. So inshallah we'll talk more about jihad in its various forms and various conjunctions and the sending down of the order of jihad incrementally بإذن الله تبارك وتعالى. وبه التوفيق وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام